This is the regular meeting of the Administrations and Public Works Committee. Alderman Burris won't be with us tonight, so I'll be chairing. We have a quorum. Could we get a motion for the approval of the minutes of the April 10th meeting?
I move approval of those minutes.
It's been moved in second. Are there any addition or corrections? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Of consideration, the City of Evanston's payroll through April 8th, 2012, $2,626,600.56. Is there a motion?
I move approval. Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? City of Evanston's bills through April the 24th, 2012. $1,695,266. Is there a motion?
I move approval. Second.
Are there any questions or concerns? Everybody have a chance to look at the bills list? Rainey,
Yes. No.
it's okay? Okay, it's been moved in second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, first item is A31, approval of a contract with the Municipal Sales Incorporated for 2012 sewer root treatment, bid 12-112. Staff recommends that the City Council authorize the city manager to execute a contract for the 2012 sewer root treatment to Municipal Sales Incorporated in the amount of $33,706.15. Funding will be provided by the sewer account 7400.62461, which has a budget of $215,000.
Move approval.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I just had a quick one.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see. I'm sorry, Alderman Breathway.
No, I was just looking to hear a little bit more information about the contract. I find it interesting that a company coming outside of New York can come in cheaper than one of our local companies here in the state of Illinois.
Madam Chair, Alderman, Laura Biggs, Superintendent of Construction for the Utilities Department. In this industry, it's very typical for companies to just have crews that kind of go around and do this work. It's a competitively bid process, and it was very close. But Municipal Sales is also the company that won the bid when we did it 2 years ago.
Is that satisfactory? Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, A2.3, approval of contract with HD Supply Waterworks for the 2012 fire hydrants, bid 12-114. Staff recommends that City Council authorize the city manager to execute a contract for the purchase of fire hydrants with HD Supply Waterworks in the amount of $62,010. Funding will be provided by the Water Fund account 7115.65055, which has a budget of $150,000. Is there a motion? It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to A3.3, approval of contract for purchase of trees, planting services through the Suburban Tree Consortium. Staff recommends that the City Council authorize the city manager to execute a contract for the purchase of 250 trees and planting services for 100 trees from Suburban Tree Consortium, STC, in the amount of $61,129. Funding for these purchases is provided by the Emerald Ash Borer EAB grant for urban forest restoration in the amount of $16,115, and by the Parks and Forestry Division account 3525.65005 with a budget of $80,000. And I think I put one too many zeros in that account number. Is there a motion? It's been moved in second. All in favor? Any opposed? 8.34, approval of a contract renewal for the 2012 Summer Food Service Program with Open Kitchens Incorporated, bid 11-01. Staff recommends that City Council authorize the city manager to execute a contract for renewal of the 2012 Summer Food Service Program agreement with Open Kitchens Incorporated in the not-to-exceed amount of $2.3869 per lunch, so $2.39 per lunch, or an estimated budget of $86,500. This is a reimbursement program in which the total amount of reimbursements the city will receive is dependent upon the number of lunches served. Is there a motion? All in favor? Any opposed? 3.5, approval of Northeastern Illinois Public Safety Training Academy membership dues, 2012 membership dues. Staff recommends approval of a payment of the 2012 Fire and Public Works membership fees in the amount of $25,042 to Northeastern Illinois Public Safety Training Academy. Funding for this membership is provided by the Fire Department, account 2305.62360, with a budget of $33,900 for both the Fire and Public Works Department. Is there a motion? It's been moved in second. All in favor? Any opposed? A3.6, approval of single source renewal of police services agreement with Motorola. Staff from the Police Department recommends authorizing the city manager to execute renewal of the annual single source service agreement with Motorola Incorporated for the amount of $57,818.07. The agreement is effective from April 1, 2012 through December 31st, 2012. Funding will be provided by the Emergency Telephone System Service Agreement and Contract Account 5150.62509 with a budget of $76,000. I got one question. I hope, in terms of the April to December date, it's not a year's contract? I mean, why is it just running from April to December? Do we know?
It explains because of the change.
I missed that. Oh, okay. All right. I got it for you. If it's okay. I missed that. Okay. Thank you. Any questions? Any other questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. A 3.7, approval of purchase of 20 replacement vehicles from Curry Motors. Our staff recommends that City Council authorize the purchase of 20 replacement vehicles for various departments in the amount of $441,689.54 from Curry Motors. Funding will be provided by the equipment replacement account number 7780.65550. It's been moved in second. All in favor? Any opposed? A 3.8, approval of a contract award for 2012 water main replacement and capital improvement fund street resurfacing project to Glenbrook Excavating and Contracting Incorporated. Staff recommends that City Council authorize the city manager to execute a contract for the 2012 water main replacement and capital improvement fund street resurfacing project with Glenbrook Excavating and Contracting Incorporated in the amount of $2,997,045.66. Funding will be provided by the Water Fund, $2,603,528.56, account 733-086.65515, and the Sewer Fund in the amount of $122,970, account 7420.65515, and the CIP Street Resurfacing Fund in the amount of $270,547.10 in the account 415-857.65515.
Move approval.
It's been moved in second. All in favor? Any opposed? A9, approval of the contract extension for hot mix asphalt. Staff recommends City Council approval of a one-year contract extension for the purchase of 500 tons of modified hot mix asphalt at a, I'm sorry,
You're right.
it's 3.9?
Never back.
Oh, okay. All right, staff recommends City Council approval of a one-year contract extension for the purchase of 500 tons of modified hot mix asphalt at a cost of $52 per ton and 300 tons of modified hot mix binder at the cost of $44 per ton to Arrow Road Construction doing business as Healy Asphalt for funding year 2012 for a cost of $39,200. Funding will be provided by the 2012 General Fund Street and Alley account 2670.65055 in the amount of $31,200. The Water Fund account 7115.65011 in the amount of $4,000, and the Sewer Fund account 7400.65051 in the amount of $4,000.
Move approval.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to A 3.10, approval of the crack ceiling contract. Staff recommends City Council approval of a contract extension with the Municipal Partnering Committee to award the 2012 crack ceiling contract to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, which is North Suburban Asphalt Maintenance in the amount of $50,000. Funding will be provided by the General Fund's Maintenance Account 2670.62505, which has a $75,000 budget for funding year 2012.
Move approval. Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? A4, Resolution 34-R-12, authorizing a contract with the Alfred Benish and Company for Bridge Street Bridge Project Phase 2 Design and Engineering, RFQ 10-25. Staff recommends approval of Resolution 34-R-12, authorizing the city manager to sign the local agency agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation and a Phase 2 design engineering service agreement with Alfred Benish and Company for federal participation for the Bridge Street Bridge Phase 2 engineering contract. Funding will be provided by the Capital Improvement Fund account 415885 in the amount of $248,805, for which the city will be reimbursed $195,044 by IDOC Highway Bridge Program funds.
Move approval. Second.
It's,
Agenda's a mouthful.
I know. It's been moved in second. All in favor? Any opposed? A5, Ordinance 440-0-12, increasing the one-day liquor license fees. Staff recommends approval of Ordinance 40-0-12, amending fees for one-day liquor licenses. Approval of the proposed ordinance would increase fees for all one-day liquor license classifications by 50%. This ordinance will implement revenue enhancements for fee increases, which are included in the city's approved budget for 2012.
I have questions about this one.
All right.
Hold
Well, let's, we want to put it on the
Move it
floor?
in.
Mhm, all right, it's been moved. Can we get a second? Okay, Alderman Grover.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Looking at this one, my concerns are, and Mr. Lyons and I have spoken about it briefly, is that by raising the fees 50%, it puts our fee schedule pretty much out of line with any of our local neighboring municipalities, but only generates $2,850 in additional revenue for the city. So I don't want to be in a position of discouraging one-time events, fundraising events that would be applying for this license. I'm guessing a lot of our nonprofits in Evanston are looking to do events here and need these one-day licenses. So I don't want to actually support this one. I think we can probably do without the $2,850 in additional revenue. This was part of our budget discussions. And I'd like maybe to keep these fees as they are for another year and see if we're in a different position in another year. But in the meantime, keep them in line with what some of our neighbors charge for these one-day liquor licenses.
Alderman Rainey?
Well, before I make that decision, I'd like to hear from our staff as to exactly who applies for one-day liquor licenses. I wouldn't suppose a not-for-profit having an event at the Orrington would need a one-day liquor license because the Orrington already has it. So who gets a one-day liquor license?
Madam Chairman, members of the committee, Grant for our Corporation Counsel. With respect to one-day licenses, typically these run the gamut between block parties, community events, schools for fundraisers, community associations for fundraisers. It just runs a real gamut of uses.
But where are not-for-profits holding their events that they have to have a one-day liquor license, other than maybe the Y?
Well, it could sometimes be at Northwestern for certain events.
If a
I'm
caterer,
trying-
if a caterer does the service, then doesn't the caterer have a license?
It won't necessarily always be a caterer. Again, this is all anecdotal, but for instance, during certain football games, you will have alumni from various visiting schools who will apply for a one-day liquor license that will be held over within vicinity of the game.
Yeah, well, I'm for charging them, that's for sure. Now, could we get, before we dispose of this, I'd like to have a list of who was issued a one-day liquor license. Because a one-day liquor license would also go to vendors at fairs, right? If vendors at, let's say, the Custer Fair, would they get a one-day liquor license, or is that something different?
I'll have to check into that, Alderman. As I stand here, I'm just not sure of the total mix, but we can get that information pursuant to your request.
I think it's a pitiful amount of money that we're going to raise, but I think if we're going to keep up with the cost of doing business, then, I don't have a problem with it. But I would like to see who is applying and receiving one-day licenses, because there might be something within the categories of applicants that we could deal with. Maybe we could give not-for-profits, we could create a new license, a new one-day license for not-for-profits. No, I wouldn't do that, but I'd like to see the list. I think it would be a mistake to have a knee-jerk reaction to disposing of this tonight, so.
Very well. We will follow up with the information.
Well, it's only for introduction tonight anyway.
Yeah, so, whatever.
Alderman Breathwaite, you want to hold it in
No,
the
we don't
committee?
need to hold it. It's not going anywhere. It's just getting introduced and being returned to the committee, okay?
Okay. All right. Could we also have, I was trying to make sure I didn't miss something else, in terms of the other, I know that in here was the list of places here in Evanston where they may have a list, but I didn't see other communities.
Look on page
I see on page 140, I think.
45 has,
Okay, maybe I
compares
didn't
this to Skokie, Wilmette, Arlington Heights, and Oak Park.
Well, we're already out of the, in comparison,
Yeah.
if you look at that, you're way over already.
Maybe we have different kind of, applicants or something. I don't know. I just know that when there's a party at the Levy Center and there's a one-day liquor license, there's a cop standing outside that door. And, I know that the applicant pays for that. I don't know if it's included in the price of the license or if it's extra. But I'd just like to have more information. I think on the surface, we're not seeing the whole story.
Okay, so we'll hold this, we'll hold it in committee, we'll just bring it back at the next meeting, okay? All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving on to A6, ordinance 46-0-12, increasing the minimum penalties for general non-parking ordinances and violations. Staff recommends approval of ordinance 46-0-12, amending minimum fines for general C tickets, administration adjudication violations, parking ordinances violation. Approval of the proposed ordinance would increase the minimum penalty for general C tickets, administrative adjudication fines by $10. This ordinance will implement revenue enhancement fees increases which are included in the city's 2012 budget.
Move approval?
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
This is for non-parking tickets, right? Okay. Could we have some idea of what some of those tickets are? So,
On page,
You could,
like housing code tickets?
those would be. Page
150.
150, yeah.
I'll give-
Page 151.
Housing code tickets, animal tickets. I just would like some discussion of what kind of tickets we're talking about.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee, Marty Lyons, Assistant City Manager. Provided in your packet, what we did on page 151 of 400 was to provide a top 10 list of the the ones that aren't already broken out. So you see we have curfew, accumulation of rubbish and garbage, bicycle operations, so operating a bicycle incorrectly, weeds and grass, restraint of animals, and exceeding park hours of operations were the top 5 on that list.
Right, and can you tell us, I might have missed it in here. Sorry. Can you tell us what our collection rate is for the top 10 currently?
I do not know the collection rate offhand, but we can query the system and find out as far as tickets issued versus tickets collected.
That would be really helpful.
We know it's not quite the same collection rate as parking where we have the boot or water where we have the B-box. So we're aware, and that's one of the reasons that we do have the new collection person who has been going after false alarms and things of that nature first. But these will also be areas that if we have something that wasn't actually collected, for the most part, those are collected when we go through the adjudicative process, so really shouldn't go into our collections process. But we'll find out, because a lot of it has to do with whether or not they are, as you're aware, adjudicated where we wrote it, and then they were deemed not guilty.
Right. Is there a chance that we are going to get a report on administrative adjudication? I don't recall seeing one lately. For example, number of cases brought, number of cases fined, number of cases released.
We can certainly provide that to the council as a
I would
as an
really like to
update.
see that.
Okay. We will do that.
I mean, it seems to, I know it was supposed to be the, perpetrator-friendly environment, and it just seems a little too friendly sometimes, and I'd like to see some kind of an analysis of what's going on there.
Certainly. Madam Chair, members of the committee, as you know, the adjudication officers work for me. We are meeting regularly. I'm meeting regularly now with them. I understand that's never something that's really occurred, to get a sense from them how things are going. We could make this a presentation, a third Monday meeting, perhaps not in May, maybe in June, and have Sue Bruner, who has been designated as the chief hearing officer to deal with some of these administrative issues, come make a presentation before the council. So we'll go ahead and
I'd
make
really
that
like
happen.
That would be great.
And we're also, Mr. Lyons mentioned the contract staffer that we have doing collections, and I believe we have a presentation scheduled on that, perhaps I think in May.
It's tracking with the local debt recovery program.
Right. Where, as you know, the state of Illinois has enacted some changes in law that allows us to use their ability to collect money from residents. And so we have to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the state of Illinois, or we're in the final stages or in the mid stages of working with the state on that agreement. So if we can have it done by the third Monday in May, we'll bring it to you along with a report on the collection activities. If not, soon thereafter.
Can you remind us of what Chicago did? There was a lot of publicity about
Yes.
an effort. Is this the same?
It is the same, and we went to the state right after Chicago announced their agreement, and we're told by the state, well, we figured it out for Chicago, but the other several thousand local governments in Illinois, we still have a little work to do. So we've been in contact with them. I believe Mr. Lyons met with representatives in Springfield when we were there a month or so ago, or that was at least scheduled.
I did not, but we were all the way down to final contract, and the state had provided us with a new contract, because the last contract was very favorable to us. We did not have many concerns with it, and the law department is currently looking at the state's revised contract, and we'll bring it forward. We were done with the staff report and ready to go, but the state sent a revised agreement, if you will, intergovernmental agreement.
So we will be in that next phase of communities entering into this agreement. Again, I think they'd figured it out for Chicago, and we're still in the process of figuring it out for everyone else.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. So it's been moved in second?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that ends, we have no items for discussion or communications. That end. Been moved to adjourn. Is there a second? All right, all in favor?